But the timeline makes sense too. Now, I guess we can give the Steelers the benefit of the doubt of not releasing him earlier.
True.
Maybe they were just trying to see, okay, if you're healthy, we're going to keep you. But then as this offseason played out, I guess DeCastro couldn't get back to where he thought he would be and now needs this surgery.
Yeah. And that's the part that's unfortunate because now we're seeing the cap savings from the release along with the additional cap space that we currently have now. And we're just like, dang, what could have happened? What if we would have done this earlier?
I guess they could have, unless they, you know what I mean? Yeah. They could have just been ahead of the game and said, hey, we don't want to deal with the what ifs. Even though at that time, it's probably not as big of a deal because you're just assuming DeCastro, he's going to find a way to get back. But then, yeah, dude, you could consider it a little costly.
Yes, because
depending on how you feel about Matt Filer versus Trey Turner, depending on how you feel about re-signing Mike Hilton, Bud Dupree, we've talked about all this.
Say all three of the, when you talk about I think it's 16.5, 16.6 in additional cap space that's available now. It's like, dude, what if you would have been able to get Bud back here, right? I mean, depending on how you would have had to,
you probably could have done that, and depending on how this contract is, I'm hearing between $2 or $4 million with Trey Turner.
Seriously, man,
it could be really affordable. You would have been able to work that out,
absolutely,
with a Bud Dupree contract,
or even a Mike Hilton contract. Like, it's a lot of things, a lot of players that we let walk away, players that we probably could have, made a bigger or better offer to as well from outside free agents, but all of those things we missed out on because of the timing of this situation right here, man. It's
based on how they're talking about James Pierre. I think we're good on Mike Hilton. I would have loved to have Bud Dupree back,
bro. What?
Bud Dupree, and then we could sign Trey Turner because then we wouldn't be missing out on anyone else, right?
No, I mean,
we wouldn't be talking about Justin Houston, Melvin Ingram.
No, we wouldn't have even been interested in Robert Kerrigan. Remember, or Ryan Kerrigan, excuse me. We had actually looked into him as well.
So, yeah, that would be the move then. I think we're good on Mike Hilton. Filer, we just replace him with Trey Turner. Then we have Bud Dupree.
That would have been dope.
That'd be perfect. That'd be the perfect offseason.
So you're basically saying we should have released him earlier, though? That's what it sounds like.
I'm giving the Steelers the benefit of the doubt, just knowing that this surgery seemed like triggered the Steelers releasing him. Or do you think the Steelers just should have been like, "Hey, we're not dealing with"?
Before I answer, we're gonna ask the chat.
Okay.
In the chat, let us know. Do y'all feel that the Steelers should have released David DeCastro earlier, so that way they could have used this money to either bring back a Bud Dupree, bring back a Mike Hilton, or do you like how this thing has played out where we gave David the benefit of the doubt, even though now we do have excess in cap space, but not a lot of players to go out there and get? Let us know in the chat, man.
Even outside of the health, though, because we weren't talking about his health like this.
We said
in February, March, because we just assumed as well that he was going to be back. But the cap savings was big, so even salary cap wise, releasing him based off his play, not necessarily the health, because we thought he'd be healthy again, would have still made sense. So maybe we don't give the full benefit of the doubt. I don't know.
All right, so I asked the chat, man, y'all are in it right now. Y'all are not messing around. I appreciate y'all. We both appreciate y'all. But yeah, man, from Bat 300, he says yes. Slurbra says earlier. They definitely should have released him earlier. Trina Still Diva says Bud Stan would have been perfect. Then from there, Koality, there we go. Koality Cola says should have released him earlier as well. John C agrees with that. Dave Shipley says no, we should not have released him earlier.
Yeah. Then getting some people that say like you should give DeCastro. He's that type of guy you give the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. Oh man, the screen just jumped on me. Alex Mathis, we want Bud back. Jordan Nichols says only in hindsight. Only in hindsight should we have done that.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that.
Oh, now Juicebox brings this up. Let me know your thoughts on this. Juicebox says if they knew he was injured, it potentially needed more surgery, right? Because he already had surgery.
If you knew that back in March or February, then
yes, they should have. That's the part where I'm like,
why would he have surgery now, though? Why wouldn't he had it back in March?
He already said that. Think about it. He said, this is my third one, right? Mm-hmm. So he probably already had a procedure as soon as the season ended. Typically, that's how it goes.
You think he's saying this is the third surgery this offseason?
It's a possibility of that. That's what I'm saying. Because with the bone spurs, when you first get the surgery, right, to clean it up, did they get them all out? A lot of times you have an idea of it, but you won't fully know until you go back out there and you start trying to do these things again. So say you had it as soon as the season ended. All right, month recovery on it. Because it's not the crazy recovery, but it's still, like I said, you still got to respect it. All right, now you're coming back, you're training, like, yo, I still don't feel right. All right, well, let's go in here, let's check it out again. Let's just see what else we need to clean up on it. All right, boom, that could happen. And now he's like, yo, it still isn't right. Which happens? You remember Marquise Pouncey, 2014, I believe the season was, right? Supposed to have just a routine cleanup of his ankle, and that turned into him going on IR, missing the whole season, right? He had to have multiple surgeries as well because the first time wasn't cleaned up, second time got infected, then from there, so forth and so forth. So even that's why I said for me, I took it as multiple times.
Okay, I didn't know his surgery history. I don't know if he was talking about over the past like 3 or 4 years, but yeah, if it was this off season,
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
oof, that's tough. That's tough.
With the way that he looked last year, clearly whatever was going on then. You don't wait to have that surgery. You have it literally. Yeah. If the season ended on Sunday, then you probably are under the knife on Thursday, or probably sooner than that, just depending on what you want to do. If you want to have the surgery,
was this something we reported and just have no clue about?
But the thing is, they don't have to report who's having surgeries and things like that. Like, I think Coach Tomlin he talked about it briefly right when the season ends, like on that first interview. But then after that, he doesn't have to continue on talking about the injury. So it could have easily been that also.
Man, if that's the case, that's a different story then.
Yeah, man.
But you're assuming with these surgeries that you have this long off season. You have however many months to get back. And if he had one surgery and then a second surgery, you wouldn't think it'd be this long, drawn out process. Mm-hmm. That's tough, man.
Bud Dupree had a similar thing. Now, granted, it wasn't an ankle, but his second year, remember early on, he landed on the PUP list, right? The physically unable to perform. He missed like the first, I think it's 4 to 6 games, and it was like just surprised everyone. He had a similar thing where he had a surgery, thought the recovery was going to go smooth and be done and be back, but it didn't. He had to go and get it adjusted. And then from there, it's like, all right, now you got to wait a little bit longer. So it does happen a lot more than it gets talked about. But that's just because everybody, like when it comes to recovery, that's why I always say, like, I don't take a guy coming back from injury for granted, because everybody reacts differently. And the older you get, the more times it's been worked on and things like that, it's going to have a different type of effect and impact on you.
So what do you think then? Should they have made the move? Hindsight is always 20/20, but if they cut Steven Nelson as quick as they did.
But now Steven prompted his, well, we don't really know, because one side says that Steven brought it up. The other side says that he didn't. I don't know. Moneybags, he says he likes how we handle this situation. And then Brandon
we are lucky there are some dudes out there.
There's still the benefit of the doubt, yeah.
Yeah, we are lucky that somehow there's still some pretty decent free agents out there that we could use this cap space on.
But what did we say, though? We said anybody that's available right now, as good of a player as they will be, they all have flaws. We said we're not going to find a TJ Watt. We're not going to find a Minkah Fitzpatrick. Those guys that you typically would pay larger salaries to are already under contract. So the scenario that we're in now is we're going to take flyers on guys that are productive but have red flags. Case in point, Trey Turner. We talked about Richard Sherman. We talked about Morgan Moses. We can go down the list of players that we would name off that we think could still help. And we're obviously still hoping we're going to make some of these moves. But all of those players that we're going to be bringing in, they still got something bad about them right now. I mean, if we talk about Richard Sherman, knock on Richard Sherman right now is what? He's getting a little bit slower. He's older. Do you play him full-time at corner? Or do you move him to safety? Right? We've talked about that with Trey Turner. Oh, he's the worst rated guard in the NFL by PFF. Well, if you want to go that route, we could go that route. But also, he's coming off of a down season, right? Played 9 games. So even him got a little bit of a red flag. Malik Hooker.
Yeah. Injuries.
When healthy, really good player. But also,
Moses might be the one that doesn't have anything. It was just that Washington was trying to get younger on their offensive line, clear their cap space.
Yeah.
Although I guess some people could say that with Bud Dupree coming off the ACL, but in terms of Matt Fowler, Mike Hilton, and then us relieving Steven Nelson, there wasn't anything going on injury-wise there. Moses might be the play, though. I'm sure we'll get into this later, like who you want, like rank remaining free agency.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to talk that.
Players, like who would you want to bring in and whatnot. But
man.
I think we should just throw darts at a dartboard with this, though.
Why not?
Just like sign a bunch of these dudes, 1 year deal. You know, one of them's going to be
LA Rams style.
Yeah, one or two of them is going to be really helpful to the team, I'm assuming.
Oh man. We should.
That's what I'm saying.
We're going to talk about that too, though. We got to talk about our friends over at, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this, Deke?
Yeah.
Manscaped. I just get excited when I talk about them, bro.
Hey, man. They're trying to help all the guys out for the summer, right?
Hey, man, it's hot guys summer. You know that. And we all have to be prepared to perform at our highest level in whatever situation and scenario that we get in. So with that being said, you know what Manscaped dropped, right? Some type of performance package.
Yeah,
right?
you might have to remind me a little bit.
So with this performance package, right? I know you remember the 3.0, right? With the lawnmower 3.0, but now we got to have that 4.0 because the 4.0 has the new lawnmower 4.0 with the little like ticky that goes on and off so you can see where you're, trimming, whether it's delicate or not delicate. Make sure you can see what you're doing. But with the lawnmower 4.0, that's included in the performance package 4.0, ladies and gents. Because in that performance package, you got to have your lawnmower. You have to have your weed whacker. We already talked about that. No nostril hairs, no ears hair. Those aren't attractive. People don't like that, all right? Shave them, trim them. But also crop reviver, crop refresher. So that way everything around your crop and your twins smell fine at all times, especially during these hot summer temperatures. But you know how we also say with this thing with Manscaped, man, we don't talk about it if we don't have a promo code, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope.
So if you use the promo code MOATS, MOATS, you will receive 20% off your purchase along with free shipping worldwide. D, that sounds like a great deal, man.
Always does, dude. It seems like all these sponsors and these deals, they're good deals all around, really.
You know why? Because they know what's up. They're catching on to what we got growing here. And they catching on to what y'all are doing as well. So y'all keep showing love. We keep showing love. They keep showing love. And we're going to keep this thing growing.